Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the highest win rate deck in the game right now for Platinum Plus and High Elo, which is this Poppy Zed deck. So Poppy Zed, not a new archetype, used to be Lulu Zed, but then people realized that Poppy is just strictly better than Lulu. And today I figured I'd give you guys more informative video on it instead of just posting gameplay or seeing people post it. You know, I haven't seen too many actual deck guides on this deck, so I wanted to go ahead and give you guys an idea behind the thought process of everything that a high rated player does in order to maybe figure out what you could be doing wrong or maybe learn something on how the other people in this game play, so you can maybe try to adapt your play style to match something of that nature. So this is a very standard list. The only thing that could be kind of non-standard is I'm playing two Vanguard Sergeants over two Vori Blade Scout. I found that Blade Scout's not that useful if you're not pairing it with exactly like one or two duos, and Vanguard Sergeant is kind of a way to cheese games that you shouldn't be winning. These are going to be games where if you don't have a Poppy or you don't have any rallies, but you do have, you know, let's say like two Young Witch and a duo or something like that. You have a 2 to 3 elusives, but you don't have a way to rally or you don't have a way to Poppy to buff all your units. Then having a Vanguard Sergeant early and getting this 4 Demacia is a nice way to turn your 3 like small units into just 12 damage for no reason. And then so you get 12 damage plus, we'll say, like, you know, 2 Young Witch, so that's another 4, so that's 14 damage, and then a Shadow Assassin, that's another 2 damage. So that's 16 damage out of nowhere if you have 3 elusives. If you have just 2 elusives, then it's let's say is that 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's another 9 damage, so that's half their life total right there. And it's just it's a nice way to have some sort of like a Hail Mary last ditch effort, as well as if you do have rally or if you have 10 mana, you can 4 Demacia, swing with all of your really big elusive units, and then use your last 4 mana to rally and swing again. It's kind of like the same idea of the Yordle and Arms rally style deck. It gives you that same sort of Hail Mary game plan. So yeah, I'm just going to go through and show you guys how I play the deck, give you guys my reasoning behind why I play certain cards, how to play certain cards, how to maximize efficiency and save spells, and that way you guys can start playing a little bit, you know, better, take more lines into consideration when you're playing a deck like this. But before we get into the games, I wanted to remind you guys that 60% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me, so if you guys could do me a huge favor and click the subscribe button and then leave a comment down below letting me know what type of videos you want to see in the future, if you like these style of deck guides and in-depth videos, it helped me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year so we can start 2022 off extremely strong. So that's it for the intro. Hope you guys enjoy the games. Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule is opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Heimer Zoe. Alright, Heimer Zoe, we're high diamond right now, we're D2, I guess mid diamond technically. We're D2, I have to try and beat Heimer Zoe. I kind of like, this is a matchup where like having to go into the late game with your Vanguard Sergeants is nice, but because they don't play too much removal, we don't have to go too late game. I'll keep a Sharp Sight maybe, but we really just need units. This deck doesn't play too many removal spells. I think in Vandal City they have exactly like Pokestick. Maybe they're playing something like the 2 mana deal 3 damage. No Zoe on 1 is extremely good for us. That's their only elusive blocker. I wouldn't be mad with the pass here. I'm down to just pass, save the spell mana. If they play stuff like Concologist, then we can play Greenglade Duo now. And say, like, you have to have exactly Group Shot. If you didn't find a Group Shot, then we at least get 2 damage in. A lot of times, if I'm in this spot, I'll pass my turn 2 no matter what my hand is, even if I'm attacking on 2. If I have, like, Zed and then a 2 mana spell, whether that's Sharp Sight or Twin Disciplines. Because you really want to make sure your champions stay alive. And having that 2 spell mana here, which in this case would be 3 spell mana, having that spell mana to keep your units alive is really important. So here, they have double Conchologist, that's fine. We're going to play Zed, and because they don't play, again, they don't play very many removal spells, so we're just going to click OK. We're not worried about my Zed dying here, unless it's just some like crazy shenanigans. There's a Pokestick. We say fine. They don't have any mana banked now, which means that there's no way they can actually deal with our Poppy or our Zed. I'm not afraid of things like Minimorph because they don't have any the 6 mana, obviously, because they just use 2 mana on Pokestick. What that means is I'm allowed to just slam this Poppy without thinking and then just full on attack my opponent. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is over in the next like 2 turns. Our opponent didn't really have a strong opener. They don't have removal mana for either of these champions here. Even if they did have triple Pokestick or something to try and kill off the Zed, we can just Ranger's Resolve and be not worried in the slightest. Let's see here. Yeah, so they definitely should have waited or could have waited to Pokestick until this turn. So it looks like he found bouncing bombs. That's fine. We have this, so we're not worried about him finding remove off a trinket trade. Our Zed's going to stay at 2 HP, which is obviously really hard for him to deal with. He doesn't have any other answers for it, or more than likely doesn't have any other answers for it, because he had to get that off of the trinket trade, so that wasn't even a card he got off of Conchologist. And then, yeah, so we're just going to full Sind here. Next turn, we're going to make our units kind of large again. We're going to set up for something like a Shadow Assassin into maybe Bright Steel Protector, and then just get another big swing, and then eventually just probably win on our next attack turn. Yep, so they have to sacrifice their board here. They're at 14. They have no board pressure. We have 2 champions in play. We're kind of chilling. Any rally kind of just ends the game. So there's our rally. So we want to make sure that we can keep mana open for rally next turn plus playing a unit. So you want to keep your future turns into consideration here. So what I'm doing now that I have rally is I'm trying to think to myself, okay, how do I actually win the game with this rally? And the answer is probably by going open attack, having him have the Minimorph or spend a bunch of mana to not die to the open attack, and then rally on top of that. And the best line for that is to Shadow Assassin. That's pretty good. Conchologist, that's pretty fine. So here we're going to be at, again, so we're going to be at 6 mana next turn. If we do 7, 8 with the Golden Ages, that means that'll give us enough mana to go Fleet Feather Tracker and Sergeant and Golden Ages. I think this open attack is more than enough to apply pressure to force them to use spells. So we can just attack here, not be worried about too much. You want to attack, I want to open attack to guarantee I get this Poppy trigger off before they have things like Minimorph, before they have, basically Minimorph is the biggest thing, or a Hush, or, I mean, we saw that they played a Solari Priest discard, so they could easily have something like the Obliterate, the Meteor Shower, anything of that nature. Basically it's Obliterate and Minimorph. If we did develop anything, we would have opened with Bright Steel Protector on Poppy, but because our plan is to rally here anyways, we're just going to Fleet Feather Tracker. So we're probably going to rally now immediately because they have the prank. So we're just going to rally. We're going to barrier up the Zed here over the Poppy, because if they Minimorph Poppy, see, here's the problem, is which one do you want to do? We'll do the Poppy here. This way we're playing around exactly like a Meteor Shower. If our Poppy levels, we just win the game on the spot. If they Minimorph the Poppy, that's their entire turn, and then we still just win the game because they're at 1 HP, and we're going to have elusive units, and we're going to go extremely wide on them, is the thought process on doing Poppy over Zed. If they kill Zed, it's not that big of a deal, because our Poppy is leveling, giving everything impact, and they're at 1 HP, so that game was pretty good. It's just we've got to play our champions against a deck with very little removal, and that's why this deck is so strong. It's really good at punishing decks that don't play a bunch of removal. Your worst matchups are going to be things like Draven Scion and PNZ Noxus in general. Decks that just play a gajillion removal spells for you that you can't really deal with efficiently. And decks like those, like the Bandle City decks, this deck is, Poppy's Head is extremely strong against Bandle City decks and other decks that just don't play efficient removal. So, yeah, it was a really good game to show you. Let's get into game 2. Alright, so in the mirror match, it depends on what turn you're attacking is going to be your game plan. So because we're attacking on evens, our game plan is going to be kind of win with Poppy. If you're attacking on odds, your game plan is to try to win with Zed and apply a bunch of pressure with Zed. Fortunately, we're going to keep the Vanguard Sergeant here because it's a 3-4, so it blocks Zed without needing a spell. It forces them to play a spell first, and then if we draw into a Sharp Sight or a Twin Discipline, then we get to win out on that trade. Also, a really, really big thing in this matchup is having Fleet Feather Tracker Young Witch. So our hand is actually perfect because we get to go Fleet Feather Tracker into Young Witch if we need to. And then if we don't, so we're going to do an open pass here because either one of two things is going to happen. They're going to play a unit and we get to Young Witch kill it for free with our quick attack Fleet Feather Tracker. Or they pass and now we have 2 spell mana, so we get to go Vanguard Sergeant and then have Twin Disciplines mana open to completely kill their Zed. So we're going to see which of those 2 things happen. Because they have to spend the mana here to play a unit, so they won't have spell mana for Zed next turn, and we're kind of winning. So let's see what ends up happening. Let's see what plan they go with. Either way, if they do or don't play Zed here, I'm going to play Vanguard Sergeant. So here comes Vanguard Sergeant. They get to play, if they attack with Zed and then represent a pump spell, we get to just Twin Disciplines and win because our unit's already bigger than theirs. So it looks like that's what's about to happen here, is they're going to attack with Zed, we're going to block. If they try to use a Twin Disciplines or something to pump it, we can use our Twin Disciplines to save it. So we're going to do this. I suspect it's Twin Disciplines is the only reason you make this block. I don't think you make this attack with Sharp Sight. Yep, so you do Twin, and we have Twin. And now the game is basically over because we get to attack on evens with a Poppy. And that's really all you need to win. So yeah, when you're attacking on evens in this matchup, you want to try to make sure you have an answer to Zed and then Poppy on 4 to attack. And then when you're attacking on odds, you want to make sure that you have a Zed and a really good way to deal with that. So fortunate again that we had the Vanguard Sergeant. That's another reason why I like Vanguard Sergeant, because it's really, 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 really good in the mirror match. Being able to have that 4 HP stat line to do things like block Zed and force your opponent to act first. So we'll see what our opponent does here. This game's looking extremely good for us. So they have a Zed. That should be okay. I like being able to have 3 mana open so we can twin and Rangers if we need to. So let's Young Witch, because I feel like what's going to happen is he's going to pull maybe Young Witch or something here. Oh, he has Barrier. Okay, that's fine. We can pass. We'll see what our opponent ends up actually pulling here. Yeah, so they're going to do that. We get to block the Zed here with our Poppy. And again, if they want to use the... we're going to Rangers to keep our Young Witch alive just so we can have maximum pressure here. And again, if they use a pump spell, then we have Rangers, or we have Twin Disciplines here to counteract the Zed. So it looks like they didn't have a pump spell, so we're pretty happy with all of that. Now we get to play Zed. We get to do a bunch of attacking and stuff of that nature. So let's play our Zed. We don't have a rally, so we're probably just going to full-on develop here. Yep, we're just going to fully develop and not be too worried about anything. Sounds good. We're going to give our Poppy quick attack so that way our Poppy doesn't die to anything. I mean, I guess they could have a Barrier Rally, but Barrier Rally here is really bad for them because it doesn't actually do much. So we're just going to full send here. We're just going to tell our opponent, hey, you know, do something. You're kind of dying. They're going to have to sacrifice either their entire board or almost their entire board to the point to where they don't apply enough pressure to kill us. So they have to still block 2 more things, I believe. Because if they just do this, then we win with Twin Disciplines. If they do that, they still have to block Zed, and we still win with Twin Disciplines. So if this is their entire block, because they have to try to keep Poppy alive, otherwise they just never win this game. And the game is pretty done. So we basically won this game off of the back of Vanguard Sergeant, which is a pretty good showing on why I played the card. And I think more people should play the card. Yeah, card is good. What can I say? Card's good. So, yep, that's how you play the mirror match. Again, it's extremely important to know which attack token you have so you know how to play out the matchup if you're attacking on odds. Again, I'm going to repeat this because it's extremely important, and you want to repeat things that are important. If you're attacking on odds, you want to have a Zed plan. If you're attacking on evens, you want to have a Poppy plan. And then you also want to make sure you have a counter plan to whatever your opponent's doing. So for there, because we were on evens and our opponent was on the Zed plan, we had an anti-Zed plan, which was have Vanguard Sergeant, have a pump spell. If we were attacking on evens, attacking on odds, we wanted to have an anti-Poppy plan, which would have been play some sort of unit and then have a barrier girl. The Bright Steel Protector is extremely good against Poppy because you get to barrier something and then you can sharp sight, and that usually kills the Poppy. If you barrier up a decent sized unit and then you sharp sight that barriered unit, now you get to kill Poppy for basically free, while also trading with another card most of the time. So that's the important part there in the mirror match. So let's get on to game 3. Alright, so Plunder. Cool, so we get to show off some Plunder gameplay. The thing against Plunder is you really want to make sure you don't get got by Make It Rain. Make It Rain is the most frustrating card, so like this is an exact opener where you're going to get baited into losing against Make It Rain every time. If you open like Tracker on 1, Duo on 2, you're just going to get Make It Rained and you're going to be extremely sad. Fortunately, we do have a bunch of Poppies, so that's really nice because it's insurance against things like Harpoon. So here, if they attack, we block. Because again, if we let this live to play a unit next turn, all that's going to happen is we're going to get Make It Rained or Parlayed or something, and our unit's going to die. Here, we're actually going to pass for the same reason of we don't want to play this and give them a free Plunder trigger. You want to make them work for their Plunder trigger. So if they do something like that, then now we say, okay, and we're just going to play our Duo. Because they've already used Plunder trigger. Let's say, for instance, they have a Parlay in their hand. We don't want to play the Duo and give them a free Parlay on a turn that they weren't going to get Plunder on anyways. We want to get them to kind of waste their stuff. So here we can block because we don't want them to trigger Plunder. And again, you can pass again. You can kind of force them into like getting their Plunder triggers, like wasting their spells. And if they don't want to do all of that, then we're perfectly happy to just say like, okay, sounds good, man. Like you didn't get your Plunder trigger, we take those. Like we're going to try and make them work extremely hard for their Plunder triggers. Because that's the only way you ever really lose this is if they have exact like Plunder triggers on up to turn 6 and then just slam down their Sejuani. So here we have that. We say, okay, so see, they did have the Parlay. They parlayed face. If they have Harpoon here on our Zed, we just say, okay, buddy, you have Harpoon on my Zed. Sounds good. Not much we can really do about that. That means they don't have Harpoon on Poppy, which is really, really nice. They do get the Plunder trigger for next turn because they just get to open attack for 3. We don't have a way to stop it. That card would have been nice because we could have played Poppy into it. So here we're just going to play Poppy. If they have another Harpoon, we can actually counteract it with Twin Disciplines, which is really, really nice. So let's see here. So we're going to hope for no Sejuani. We're going to play Green Glade Duo. Hope for no Sejuani. This is kind of baiting out the Make It Rain if they do have one, because we did draw the Ranger's Resolve. Okay, so they stole an elusive unit from us. That's fine. I'm actually tempted to just barrier my elusive girl instead of the Poppy. And then we can just do like a Ranger's Resolve into Relentless Pursuit or something of that nature. If that was the plan, then it probably would have been better to bury your Poppy either way. So yeah, so let's full swing here. Yep, so they do that, and then we can have Rangers here to keep our units alive. Mainly, we just want to keep, you know, this 4-3 alive. So we do something like this. They still haven't triggered Plunder on this turn, which is really nice. They obviously can because they have warning shots. We'll see what happens here. Warning shot. Okay, let's see if they have Harpoon. This would be a really good turn to Relentless Pursuit onto our Poppy and swing. But if they have Harpoon, the whole plan is just foiled if they have second Harpoon. So we're kind of just going to force them into having things like that. That's really good. We have second Poppy, though, so we can just bounce the Poppy to the top of their deck and not be too worried. We just do something like this. Bounce you to the top of your deck, good sir. And not really care too much about what's happening. So here, a Make It Rain would obviously make us extremely sad. I have a feeling they just don't have Make It Rain, or they probably would have tried to go for it already. So I'm down to just kind of... Do I want to trade this? Probably not, because we're just going to buff Poppy here. If we're going to continue to play around second... So here's the thing. The thing is, Harpoon is pretty hard to play around. So we either can... So we can try and level our Poppy, and that's going to be how we win. I do kind of like that. And that would require our Poppy to not die to Harpoon. However, they could always just Harpoon us in the future. So, yeah, this is fine. So we're just going to go for this and just say, like, you don't have Harpoon. Second Harpoon. Cool. So they did have second Harpoon, which is extremely good for us. Yeah, I have Croaker. That doesn't matter. All of our units get ginormous here. So we get something like this. And then we get to attack next turn. Which levels our Poppy, and we should be winning the game. Because it'll give everything +2/+2 and impact. Poppy herself will have impact 2, and the game will be over. So this game was kind of scary for a moment, but a lot less scary. Because we had the second Poppy in hand. So that's a really good way to show you how to play against this Plunder matchup, is against Plunder specifically, you want to just force them to play cards first. So that's why you don't always need to be this hyper-aggressive deck where you're like, oh, me slam cards, me go face. You want to make sure you're playing around things, you know, make sure not only take your game plan into consideration, but make sure you're taking your opponent's game plan into consideration. If I would have just slammed down my 2-1 on turn 2 and they say, okay, here's a parlay, then that makes me extremely sad because now I just, one, like, I lose my 2-1, so I wasted my mana because I traded 2 mana for 1, and that's not good. 2, I gave him a free Plunder trigger, so I'm, like, moving his game plan along for what was basically free, whereas, as you saw, he had to use a warning shot into the 3/3 on our turn 2, and that made his parlay a lot worse because then he open attacks with the 3/3, we block, and then now what? We passed again because that forced him to say, okay, am I really going to parlay face? Or if he had to Make It Rain, am I really going to Make It Rain nothing just to get this Gangplank and Sejuani trigger? And if they do stuff like that, it kind of sucks because, yes, they are moving along their win condition of leveling up these champions. But on the same time, it's really good for you because they just used a spell that had 0 effect on your board, and their spell didn't affect your win condition. So you're still able to play your win condition to the fullest while making their win condition a little bit worse. So I hope you guys enjoyed the games. I hope you enjoyed the commentary behind it, explaining my thought process behind all the different plays, how I play each matchup, why I did the things I did. We got a bunch of really good games there in a row, so I hope you guys enjoyed them. Again, join my Discord to get notifications on everything. I'm always trying to find people to play games off stream and off YouTube videos. Like, for instance, the new TFT 2v2 mode comes out, and I'll be looking for a bunch of partners to play that with. So if you play TFT, League, Valorant, like Jackbox, I'm always setting up Jackbox games. You can join my Discord. Link will be in the description below, and you can play all these fun games with me off stream. Other than that, make sure to like the video, and I don't care if you like the video, but comment the video would be really, really helpful if you subscribe and comment, and help me out so much with the YouTube algorithm that way. Let me know what you did think of these commentaries, if you want to see more of them, if you want me to talk less and you just want to see gameplay. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, and go follow me on Twitch because I stream on there 5 days a week, trying to go full time, and the link to all of those things will be in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this little deck guide, and I'll see you guys in the next video.